Hi people, my name is Jeff and this is going to be the probably only dev diary video on the Warhammer 40k mod for Wargame Red Dragon. In this video I am going to show you guys what I've already done, what has changed since version 0.4, which is the latest version available on ModDB, link in the description, what is still going to be added, and where I am going to leave this mod off, because as you all might know, Warning Order is going into early access on the 20th. So by that time I do want to have this mod finished and a 1.0 version with one playable campaign. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So first of all, things I can do. I can change the campaign name. I can do that. I cannot change the campaign year. If I do so, then something in the scripting of the game breaks and the campaign itself will not load. I have a feeling that is because the year is actually what activates the campaign script instead of the actual campaign name. This one is always the same no matter what language version of the game you're using. So let us just launch this campaign. So far everything has been vanilla wargame. And as we start off, we are just going to skip the vanilla campaign video. I might implement a new video there, but I'm not sure about it. Because in and of itself, doing so will be quite an undertaking, I feel. So to start off our campaign, I have been able to change the models of the people talking to you, as well as what they're saying. So let's just go through this. Lord Commander Militant, I'm sorry, but I cannot get through to General Headquarters. All communications with the front are cut off. Wait, the Vox is clearing up. I will patch you through to Busan HQ. Sergeant Major 1313 of the 553rd Krieg Line Regiment, we have reached the front just moments ago and expect to be engaged in the coming hours. It seems at least 90% of the PDF has forsaken the light of the Emperor, with a loyal 10% being purged as we speak. As you heard, the PDF has revolted against the Imperium. Steel Legion forces should soon be in place to cut off the enemy supply lines. All that rests us to do is to hold Busan Starport, and that's where the campaign begins for us. Computer does its initial couple moves, and here we start off. Enemy forces will all just get the general mark of chaos. And here's where we can get our first look on the units that are available within the game. Of course, we're going to have our trader PDF command vehicles, a couple of cargo trucks. All Imperial vehicles will just be marked as General Imperium instead of being faction specific. And we get a good chunk of trader PDF units. We'll get light stubbers and PDF anti-tank weapons. And they are transported in PDF troop transports, which just get a multi-laser. For support units, they get some Hydra SBAs, a couple of Earthshakers, some Manticores, a couple of Basilisks. Interesting thing to note about the Earthshaker, they have a road speed and a speed of 0. This means that once you deploy them, you can't really move them. Sometimes they bug out and you can actually move them, but that's very rare. Another thing is that they currently have 8 AP power. I am looking at removing that, so any results of artillery bombardment that you might see in the coming gameplay, take that with a grain of salt. Then on our side we have the 553rd Line Regiment and a fire support company. Get ourselves some Krieg command posts transported in chimeras. good amount of cargo trucks, and 2 forward operating bases. A good chunk of regular line infantry, a couple of grenadier units, some engineers, equipment flamethrowers, crack missile teams with our crack missile launcher, and our heavy weapon teams. Most of these are transported in chimeras, which are going to get their multi-laser, don't worry about it. Except for the Greek light infantry, which just gets transport trucks. For sport, we also get hydras, manticores, basilisks, and a good chunk of earthshakers. Do not look at these Leman Russas, these are going to be going soon. As it stands now, these will make it way too easy to win, and I'll thusly not be using them. And finally, we get ourselves a bit of Greek Recon. Now, I am going to be reducing these 1200 Greek line infantry and 200 grenadiers to about 100 and 600. As well as reducing the weapon teams down to 50, so you have the same amount between crack missiles and weapons teams. So, let us get into this. Right, we have our standard setup. I am actually going to be moving this FOB to over here, I feel like. Going to probably be most useful over there. Now for infantry, I do want to have a group of 4 crack missiles over here. Get some over here. Over here. And 2 groups here and 2 groups here. Then I am going to get some heavy weapons teams over here. Here. Over here, overlooking these 2 bridges. Over here and here. And then get ourselves some along here. And then some regular Krieg infantry to go along with them. Just to show off all of the units. There we go, those are our defensive emplacements ready. We're going to get ourselves not for just 1 command post over here, command post over here, and the command post over here. Our artillery field. This is where our units that are going to do all of our damage are going to be situated. Artillery is extremely important for the Krieg. Let's also just get the basilisks out just to show them off. The basilisks are actually equipped with a heavy bolter because they are based on the chassis of a chimera. So they have the whole mounted heavy bolter. Let's get ourselves a couple of manticores here as well for air defense. Some over here, and some hydras in reserve over here. Some over here, and some over here. Just to have some air cover. Now, lastly, we want to actually fully win this battle. So, to do that, I'm going to make a flanking force stationed over here that is going to go all the way around and hit the enemy cap zone from the flank. This force is going to be made up out of our grenadiers, line infantry, and some of our heavy weapons teams, as well as 2 command posts just to be sure, and a couple of supply trucks in reserve. And then we get all of our artillery there, supply trucks too, and the supply trucks for these holding forces. And with that, I am going to be putting time practically in bullet time. Just because I know that the moment I press play, the enemy artillery, because they do have Earthshakers and Basilisks, will open up on our infantry over here. This is because, well, one thing that is probably not known to anyone is that I have had help from the unofficial patch for Wargame Red Dragon developer into loading his AI improvements into this mod. So the AI is in and of itself quite a bit more responsive, a bit more aggressive. It will use its planes now instead of waiting for it to run out of other units first. And a whole other list of changes that have been made to how the AI behaves. I have not tested it through the full campaign yet, but it's going to come, because there is one part that I still need to fix. But for now, let us start this battle. Game actually wants to process a tick. There we go.
Who do you want us to transport?
Get all of you to unload. Get you out of here. Get you to unload. You to unload. You guys to go into here. You guys to go over here.
Who do you want us to transport?
All of you to move over here. And our artillery to start being grouped. So first of all,
Need some extra firepower?
I said you over here, you're going to be group 1.
Ready to pound them, sir.
Group 2. Fire over here. Group 3 is going to fire over there. And group 4 of our basilisks are going to fire over here to start some preliminary counter battery. Right, these guys have arrived over here. Get you to unload and move you back. Unload. Get back. Move up the Hydras a bit to get your cargo trucks over here.
Transportation corps ready for your orders, sir.
The cracking missile and heavy weapons teams fully deployed. The AI has chosen to begin its really big rush of just traitor PDF units. Looks like I can find number 3 correctly. Over here. And we are getting some real large amount of napalm dropped on us. Should move these hydras up. Flanking force is moving into position. infantry into better positions to start countering this blob. Guys over here are also going. Move you there, you there. There's still some artillery over here that we have to deal with. And it looks like this entire position got annihilated. Mainly because it's entirely covered in napalm. Well, I think it's time for our flanking force to move up. In itself, the fighting over here is going pretty decently, if I do say so myself. Well, seems like I only got one heavy weapons team over here. Just move to the other side of the street and get rid of that Hydra. Well, those couple of Hydras.
The world consists of two types of people, artillerymen and targets.
Guys are moving up perfectly. It seems like the enemy didn't find a target for their planes to bomb. Now, these planes are still the vanilla in-game ones. I am looking at replacing them with the actual planes of the Imperial Navy, but that's going to take just a bit longer. These guys just back into their positions so we can get some R&R on these guys going. And over here, just some supply trucks, it seems. Move these guys up to here and here. It seems like I did deprive them of their supplies.
Fresh delivery, en route.
Let's get you guys moved up.
Someone called for a cab?
Alright, I'm actually going to unload you guys. And where are our commandos? Over here and over here. I'm going to keep you guys back. And I'm going to commence an attack with all of you. They are moving planes up over there. I should have sent some anti-air along. They got all of it out on the Manticores. Get the heavy weapon teams on that. They are way better at dealing with infantry.
Just give us some coordinates, sir.
Some artillery going on there. Seems our attack is commencing properly. There are two command post units just to move up a little bit. Our Chimera's already opening up. Finishing out the last of the enemy's artillery. This position is now finally getting some R&R. Cargo truck is almost here to support the infantry. These transport trucks are just going to hang bang. They're nothing but points for the enemy. And we're just going to start a general advance. In and of itself, I am going to be looking at also at giving the Grenadiers both the AT and the Heavy Bolter, just to make the units stand out a lot more and also give me an excuse to make them a lot more expensive. Alright, that should be more than enough to allow these two command units to move in and capture the zone. And then we're also going to start an advance over here. And then advance over here. Oh, seems like our Grenadiers are running into a bit of trouble here with these Hydras, which are now being engaged by the anti-tank infantry. You guys should just start holding that position. Just move in over here. Go over there. Get weapons team to move up. Getting those Grenadiers to get into a more ahead position. In general, I say that pushes worked quite well. Seems like the enemy has moved their command unit, can just stop our unit from moving, and that is going to give us the zone and automatically win us the battle and destroy the enemy units involved. A look work of Wargame not a lot of people know about. Now with that done, Daegu has been completely secured. And we're going to get our second bit of dialogue. Major, I managed to contact the Steel Legion headquarters, so we should be getting a sit rep of their amphibious operation shortly. In the meantime, here's the situation. Busan Starport, wink wink, must not fall before Imperial reinforcements arrive from nearby worlds, which is in 3 days' time according to their estimates. We are holding the peripheral 3 sectors and the enemy is surrounding us. We have a couple of combat units still preparing their equipment at the starport, but they should enable us to make up for our losses which will be inevitable. Good luck, Lord Commander Militant. And this is where the campaign begins proper. Over here in Yangdak, you are going to be facing off against a traitor PDF tank regiment. And over in something I cannot pronounce, you are going to be facing off against a good couple of support companies and an infantry battalion. This is, in my opinion, the hardest of the 3 starting fights. But let's look at some of the other units you have to your disposal. So in the zone I cannot pronounce, you have yourself a heavy weapon support company, the 102nd Dev Corps Siege Regiment, and the 86th Armored Battalion. Over here we have the 27th Armored Regiment. And in reserve we have the 31st Harkoni Airborne, complete with Valkyries. Don't look at their command post, that still needs to get the proper weapons. Some supply Valkyries, a couple of FOBs. We have some Harkoni Warhawk infantry. In the Valkyries, we have some anti-tank groups in Valkyries. They don't get heavy weapons teams, mainly because it's not really that fun to transport to. Well, on the other hand, on one hand, I was kind of lazy and didn't want to model them. On the other hand, the weapons itself aren't very prone to being transported in a Valkyrie. I'm now probably going to get like a bunch of lore nerds in a comment screaming at me that a heavy stubber does fit into a Valkyrie, so a heavy bolter does too. We are also going to get some Harakoni Warhawk Recon, which are going to be their elite units, which are going to get, well, basically the best of both worlds with the AT and the last carbines. And then you have a couple of loose Valkyries, which you can just use for scouting purposes. We have the Reserve Tank Company with an extra 100 Lehman Russ. We have a Logistics Company with 2 FOBs and a group of cargo trucks. And we have the SPAA Support Company with Hydras and Manticores. Now, in and of itself, once you get to turn 2, a naval invasion force is going to spawn in Sector Charlie, which is going to be made up out of the Armageddon Steel Legion and another group of Harakoni Warhawks. They currently don't function because I neglected to give the Steel Legion infantry that actually is navally deployable. And as far as I know, a Chimera is not amphibious. So for now, that is a bit broken, but it will be fixed in the 05 or the 1.0 version, whatever I launch next. So with this out of the way, I'd like to thank all of you for watching, and I'll see you guys probably when the mod releases. Bye for now.